So thank you all again. It's so wonderful to see all your faces and so good to see you again. Thanks again for joining in and coming here on the live Zoom session here for our Energy and Balance Restored course. And we really have a special treat for you today. This is really exciting for us. We have Kamini Desai with us today, who is just an incredible inspiration, I think. Yulia and I both have been incredibly inspired with her work and everything that she does and continues to do across the world. Really, we just wanted to give you a short introduction to just set up so that if you don't know who Kamini is, I think many of you probably already do know who she is, but in case you don't, we just wanted to give you a short introduction for her, just so you know who she is and her background, where she's coming from. But really for the last 25 years or so, Kamini, she's created a huge body of work combining these teachings of ancient wisdom, ancient modern or ancient yoga, combining it with modern psychology. So I like to think of it kind of the East meets the West in a very modern approach to these ancient teachings. And she was trained in the Kripalu Center of Yoga and Health. She also has degrees in anthropology and psychology from Smith College and LaSalle University. And she's daughter of one of the original yoga masters who pioneered yoga in the West. And as well as she serves as the director of wellness at Yarrow, an executive retreat center, which is in Michigan, and also on faculty of the Fox Hollow Leadership Center. And she's now the education director and core curriculum developer at the Amrit Yoga Institute, which is where Yulia and I have studied extensively and taken multiple trainings. I think Yulia has taken almost every single training that they offer. And so she's also, Kamini is one of the 3 founding directors of the International University of Yoga and Ayurveda, along with Dr. Vijay Jain and also Dr. Shekhar Botla. As well as Kamini is an outstanding author in her own right, and she is the author of Yoga Nidra, The Art of Transformational Sleep, which is an outstanding book, and I highly recommend it. She's written multiple books, also another one, Life Lessons, Love Lessons, which is referred to as the Eat, Pray, Love meets Sex in the City. As also, Yulia and I have both read that book together, and I have to say also is extremely good. I really appreciate how many personal details that she puts into it about her actual life. She's really considered to be a modern expert. She really understands the arts of the inner science of yoga, relaxation, artful living, and she's been a frequent guest speaker all over the world at a lot of various different events, national accredited institutions, for higher learning in the States. But she's really also guided and led Yoga Nidra now for a long time and has lots of experiences in various government institutions. She's been welcomed in over 10 countries, including England, Holland, Belgium, France, Portugal, Germany, Turkey, Iceland, Italy, Jamaica, the Bahamas, Mexico, and all throughout the US and Canada, and continues to expand her reach and influence. In addition, her work, she's done a lot of things towards personal empowerment and fulfillment, including corporate clients in the Bahamas, Princess Resorts, Kellogg's, Keds, Sony, KPN Telecom, and Mars Confectionery, as well as the DoD and the Internal Revenue Service of the Netherlands. So she's been all over the place. And I think the other thing I would share in addition is that she is an exceptionally intuitive and gifted teacher. She has a really masterful and just incredible way of making sometimes very complex subjects, and especially with these integral details about modern science in relationship to Yoga Nidra, she makes them incredibly practical and down to earth and incredibly relatable. So with that, I would love us to be able to give a warm welcome to Kamini.
Thank you very
Round of
much,
applause.
Gabriel. Lovely. I love that.
Love that.
So great to see all of you. Some of you I already know. It's wonderful to see your faces again, and others of you I hope to see. I'm happy to see you here and maybe in the future as well. So thank you for that beautiful introduction. It made me think, oh my gosh, I've been so busy, like all of us, right? That's why we're taking this course. So we need some energy balance and restored, because so many of us, even with the great things that we want to do in the world, well-meaning, big contributions. And a lot of us are doing really important things that are very meaningful to our families, to our friends, to the people that we're working with. But that doesn't mean that, it's so easy in the name of giving to everybody else. And who do we forget? Ourselves. And so I will tell you again and again, as much as I teach this stuff, I'm teaching it also for myself, because we all need to be reminded that everything begins with our energy being balanced, restored, so that we can continue to give. So thank you for that kind introduction, the beautiful introduction, and the invitation to be here. So just a few things as we go in. I know that many of you have started watching the videos, so I thought I'd start there. And Yulia and Gabriel asked me also to speak a little bit about habits. So let's just see where we end up and how things go. I'm also very open to taking questions. You can just put them in the chat box and maybe Gabriel can let me know as they come up. So let's just go ahead right in and get to how is Yoga Nidra going to help you? How's it going to help your nervous system? So one of the things that you're going to be listening to as you listen to the videos is about the sources of stress. And I think you've probably already heard about how the psychological sources of stress, the sociological sources of stress, the biological sources of stress. If you haven't yet, you will in those videos. And really the psychological has to, the societal stresses, those are the pressures that we feel from the outside. I have to go to this meeting. I have to go to this party. If I don't do this, people are going to be offended. That's pressures coming in from the outside. Then we've got the internal pressures. Well, if you don't do it, you're not good enough. The inner critic, the one who's pushing us to do more, be better. And very often, of course, we are the one who's pressuring ourselves more than anyone else outside. And then the third is, of course, the biological stressors. And what we mean by this is really by being kind of out of alignment with the natural rhythms of the universe, we set the stage for biological stressors. And the practice of being in alignment with the biological rhythms of the universe is called Dinacharya. And I am gonna, hold on one second. Yep, hang on. We're just gonna readjust the camera so that you can see the whiteboard over here. Just give me 1 second. And the word Dinacharya, I'm gonna spell it for you. Dinacharya, okay? So Dinacharya is resetting your habits, realigning yourself so that how you are is really in alignment with the rhythms and the nature of the universe. And so I'm going to talk about a number of different things, but really centering around trying to come back to this whole idea of Dinacharya and how can Yoga Nidra help us realign us with the nature and being in harmony with the rhythms of the universe. So often when we think of biological stressors or any of these kinds of stressors, we think about, when we're in with these biological stressors, we think, oh yeah, I need to eat better, or I need to sleep early, or those kinds of things. But if you really think about it, what is the core of the biological stressor? It's really that I have lost touch with what my body is telling me. It's really that simple. So instead of like writing a whole list of 25 things that we need to do, really what we could do is one single thing, which is realign with what our body is telling us. It's already telling us all the time what it needs. It's just that we've gotten in the habit of not listening. So Dinacharya, this is a practice from Ayurveda, and it has to do with basically resetting that biological stress by coming back into alignment, listening to what it is that your body is telling you. And if you think about it, what's causing the stressor? I eat more than what I need. I don't sleep. I sleep less than what my body is telling me. I'm eating differently than what my body tells me it needs. Of course, your mind will tell you something, but what your body actually wants is a completely different thing. And so if we were to start to shift, one of the simplest thing that's going to take care of those biological stressors is to come back into alignment with what the body wants and needs. However, that's easier said than done, isn't it? Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this workshop right now. And I wouldn't need to remind myself either. So, but I just want to bring it back to this whole idea that once we are in attunement with the body and the voice of the body, it's not 25 things we need to do. It's actually just one thing. And that helps me anyway. So let's have a look at this. And I'm just going to ask my assistant over here to switch the camera again. Okay, and let's come over here. And let me just, hold on one second, guys. Here we go. So let's back up and see what is it that's actually driving our habits. And I'm going to suggest, because we're talking about stress, that very often it's some kind of stressor that is driving our habits. So we don't just get out of alignment with the rhythm and nature of the universe for no reason. Usually it's because there's some underlying force, there's some underlying driver that's pushing us in that direction. And maybe the very first and core thing that disengages us from the voice of nature speaking through us happens at the first chakra. And I'm pulling teachings from all different places. This is a little bit from yoga therapy. But in my yoga therapy course, one of the things that we talk about is at the first chakra, this is where we experience the separation from the source. And that separation from the source happens something like this. So when we're infants, we live in complete trust, complete harmony, complete oneness with the whole, where we are in a natural state of dinacharya. We're crying when we're crying, we're screaming when we're screaming, we're hungry when we're hungry, we're pooping when we're pooping, right? That's dinacharya, natural dinacharya. But what happens is at some point, something happens, and it's supposed to happen. It's part of the development of our image, our self-image, our ego, our individuation, which must happen. But we, at some point, either it's true or it's interpreted that who I essentially am is not lovable. That love is like when we're an infant, we just trust we're loved, whether we're screaming or whether we're crying or whether we're laughing. But at some point, there's an experience or a series of experiences that gives us the feeling that the love that I get depends on what I do or I don't do. Love is not a given. Love is something that comes and is based on what I do. And to me, this is the beginning of the core stress, the core feeling of I have to be different. I have to be essentially different from who I am in order to get that love. I don't know if anybody recognizes this, but if you do, you can raise a hand. But that's the core, right? That is the core, what we call in further yoga nidra trainings, we call this the core samskara. You could think of it as the core belief, the core pattern. And this core pattern, it's the first seed. It's the first seed of separation that creates this, I have to do something to be lovable. And to me, this is the beginning of all the stresses. It's the beginning of our biological stress. It's the beginning of our societal stress. It's the beginning of our psychological stress. So let me explain that a little bit more. Let's go on to societal stress. Let's go on to psychological. So let's say that I have to do something to be lovable. That's already stressing the nervous system. So whereas your nervous system was built to be under tension and relaxation, at the very core of, at the very essence of our being, the foundation is, but you have to do something, you have to be something, you have to achieve something in order to earn that love. So instead of being in a sympathetic parasympathetic balance where we do and then we rest, there's that very core, very seed root feeling, I've got to do more. And as that grows over time and we grow up over time, we start to figure out what it is that's going to get us what I call the 4 A's. And the 4 A's are approval, appreciation, let's write them down. So the 4 A's are approval, appreciation, acknowledgement, and what is the last one? Approval, appreciation, acknowledgement, and of course I'm blanking right now, guys.
Acceptance.
What is it?
Acceptance.
Thank you. That's the one. Okay, so we start to figure out this is what's going to get me what I'm looking for. And so we figure out your gifts, your talents. We start to say, oh, well, smart is not just about being smart. Smart gets me what I'm looking for, right? So I'm going to do more of that to get these things so that I can be lovable. Right? So our doing is not just sourced from, well, I have a lot on my plate to do. It's coming from a much deeper drive, I believe, from the disconnection from the source. I have to do something to be lovable. Who I essentially am at the core of my being is not enough. I have to be different. So this is what I believe is driving our overdoing. And it shows up. This approval, appreciation, acknowledgement, acceptance isn't that often what drives that societal stressors. Well, if I don't show up, I'm not going to be approved of. I'm not going to be accepted. If I don't bake those cookies or go to the bake sale or go to this meeting or chair this board or whatever it is that we feel that we must do, look and see, ask ourselves the question, and myself included, what is really driving this? Why is it that my mind is telling me I have to do this? Okay. And the answer might be in one of these. And I'm not saying we can't ever do it, but what I am saying is, of course, we want to make it more conscious, that we're making conscious choices for ourselves. And Yoga Nidra is going to help us with this, of course. So that's the societal, but what about the psychological? Psychological also often driven by, this is your internal pressures. So the email is not just about the email. If I get that email right, if I do a good job, if I have to push myself harder in order to get these things. So why do we hold ourselves to such high expectations? Why are we striving after these things? Because when we get it, then we tell ourselves, then I'll be lovable. So we put all this energy into the image, all this fire that we were born with. All our talents are devoted to that. So that's the psychological. I think we can all see that. But then the question is, well, where does the biological fit in? In a couple of places. One is, if we're very devoted to the psychological and the bio and to taking care of everybody else and taking care of our own inner drives, what our mind is telling us we have to do, who pays the price? Our inner urges, right? The voice inside is what pays the price. And very often, the only avenue that voice inside has, the only card it has to play is increase the volume, increase the volume, increase the volume, until at some point, it increases the volume to the point of stress, insomnia, disease, illness, etc. not because our body's against us, but it had no other choice to get us to listen to it. And I think we've all been to that place. That's why we're taking a course like this, where we know, you know what? The only reason that the volume had to get so loud was because I wasn't listening in the first place. So one of the things that Yoga Nidra is going to do, among many things, is it's going to help us release, well, first of all, return to the wisdom of the body, return to that place where in the deepest part of the Yoga Nidra, we're not worrying about all the things we have to do to please everybody else. All those expectations coming from inside of us, they also fall away. And what we return to, it's like all the outside falls away, all the inside falls away. And as we move more and more to the core of our consciousness, we begin to return into alignment with the voice of the body. It's really that simple. And you might notice that the more that you practice a practice like Yoga Nidra or meditation or yoga, the more you're able to feel, I'm sleepy. And maybe even the more you'll be able to act on it and go, you know what, I'm gonna go to sleep now. So I think, one of the things that Yulia and Gabriel were asking me to talk about today was, how do we work with our habits? And one of them, I think, is going to be, Schoolie, if you could help. Great. One of them is going to be learning to commit, just commit, not commit to Yoga Nidra, not commit to meditation, not commit to all the things we should do, but what if we were to just commit to listening to our body? And maybe that's a good place to begin. And it might even be now, just now, close your eyes for a moment. And maybe there's one place that you would want to begin listening to your body. Just listening to your body. Maybe it's with food. Maybe it's with sleeping. Maybe it's when you say yes to all kinds of things you really shouldn't be saying yes to. And all it would be a willingness to listen to this body that is with you every day, every night, carrying you through all these things, and being willing to befriend it and to listen to it and to say, I'm willing to listen to you. And if there was one place that you would begin listening, what would that place be? Just choose one. And maybe even noticing what it feels like, just to return to that one feeling. I'm willing to listen to you and what you have to tell me. Just take a breath in and sigh that out. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So just make a note of whatever that was for you. In a little bit, I'm going to be guiding you in a Yoga Nidra. You can open your eyes if they're not already. And just guiding you into that place with an intention of listening and honoring your body, returning to the body. But before we go there, I just have a couple of more, how would I say this, tips in terms of bringing in new habits into our lives. So first, remember that whatever habits that we have now, they came through repetition. And so the fact that you are in this course right now is like one of the best things that you could do to change your habits. Because whatever you, in the beginning, it takes a little bit of will, it takes a little bit of commitment to get that new groove going. I'm sure you've all heard nerves that fire together, wire together. So in the beginning, even if you like, see, here's my thing, get your mind on your side. So when we want to shift a habit, if you say to yourself, oh my God, I have to practice every single day for the next year, you, unless you're super disciplined, and some of you are, but I'm not, right? My mind will rebel to that. So what do? We say, just for the next week, just for the next 2 weeks, just for the next day, whatever it is for you, but you want to commit to a time period, let's say for a week or through the course of this course, right? That you're going to begin. And in the beginning, it takes a little effort. It's hard, right? It's you're breaking your old pattern. But once you get it going, it starts to become self-propelling. Just like when you have snacks every night before you go to sleep, right? It works through repetition. So the more you do it, the more you tend to do it. The same is true of Yoga Nidra or any other habit. So the more that once you try to get it going and tell yourself, I only have to do it today. I only have to do it today. I only have to do it to get today. And each time that you do it, it's going to start to gain momentum. You're gaining traction that your body and your nervous system will want to go there again. So use this principle of repetition to get on your side, okay? I only have to do it today. That works for me. And then each day, I just say it for the next day, okay? Another one is don't worry about when you fail. So we don't cover this too much in this course, but in other Yoga Nidra courses with me, some of you have taken those already, but what you'll learn is that don't worry about when you fail, because every time you have succeeded, you have created a new neural pathway. So let's say you have an old neural pathway of sleeping in. But every time you succeeded going down the new neural pathway, getting up 15 minutes early to do your Yoga Nidra, you've of your two choices, now you've got more. Every time you have repeated this, you've got more neural density going down that way. Okay, you've got a deeper groove. So even though you might fall back to this one, every time you do succeed, you are actually deepening this new groove. So what we tend to do is we so-called fail for one day and then we give up entirely, not recognizing that you have gained momentum just for all the times that you have succeeded. That neural pathway is there, and every time you do repeat it, it will become stronger. So don't worry about when you fall back, just keep going. Every time you do repeat it, it is going to get deeper. That groove is going to get deeper. And remember that this is more, we want to work in yoga and anything with yoga with more like an intention versus a goal. So once you're clear that you are devoting your life, one of your life intentions is very simply to listen to your body. There are going to be times that you don't. That's just going to happen. But once you know, it's like you know you're going north, even going south and not listening to your body can be a part of your journey of going north. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not like you have to do it 100% all the time. You just know this is the direction I want to move in. And even when I go off, I know that I'm using that to get back on the road. You just took a detour down, overeating lane or not sleeping enough lane, and you just get back on towards your dinacharya, being in harmony with the impulses of the universe. And then the other thing that you can do, again, to keep your mind from rebelling, is replace time that's already dead time. So we are busy people. I don't care who you are, we are busy people. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. But there are times that we are spending time that we could, if we had just like, for example, social media, we get on Facebook, like we have a little extra time. we want to chill and we get on social media. And before we know it, we spent a half an hour on there, right? So as soon as you can catch yourself, remembering it's a direction, but when you can catch yourself and say, you know what, I have a 20-minute period. Let me just lie down and do a quick yoga nidra. Do you see what I'm saying? So there are dead spaces in our day where it's not really used for anything that's truly adding to what we're doing, and see if you can replace those with a yoga nidra without making it one more thing you have to do. So for example, if you take an afternoon nap, or if you need to have a cup of coffee in the afternoon, what if you were to replace it with 10-minute yoga nidra, right? Instead of, in the morning when you wake up, maybe, before you just jump right out of bed, maybe you say, okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes to just do a little yoga nidra, or before you go to sleep at night. So the idea is to get your mind on your side into a place where it doesn't rebel against you. Okay. So hopefully those are some good tips to get us going and get us inspired and to experiment with. And remember, it's not about perfection. We're just all on a journey. We're moving in a direction. Okay. So go ahead and set up for a yoga nidra, and just take 2-3 minutes, use the restroom, and then get yourself into position, lying wherever you're going to be lying or sitting. Okay, so just taking any last moments to get yourself comfortable. Maybe some height under the knees, some padding under the head. Remember that your body temperature will drop, so you do want to cover yourself. And the intention we'll be using today, and I will repeat it to you so you don't need to remember it. But the intention will be, I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. And today, as we go into the Nidra, just be aware that we'll be doing breath holding to begin. If you shouldn't be holding your breath for any reason, just pause momentarily at the top of the inhalation before exhaling again. Making any last minute adjustments. And then as you're ready, just close your eyes. Allow your attention to move inward. And feel your whole body beginning to soften and relax. Breathe in fully. And exhale with a deep sigh. And again, breathe in fully. And exhale, let go even more. And feel a deep sense of peace and contentment begin to wash over you. Allowing yourself to receive the intention. I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. Now follow my guidance as we take 3 deep breaths. Ready? Let's inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. And when prompted by the inner urge of the body, release the breath slow and steady. Breathing normally. Second breath now, inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat, allowing tension to build just a bit longer, but without strain. When prompted, release fully, expelling from the body what it no longer needs. Breathing normally. Deep-seated tensions leaving the body with the breath. Third breath, inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. And holding even longer, but without strain. Be the neutral observer. When prompted, release the breath slow and steady, letting it all go until there's nothing left. Completely empty and open. Breathing normally. Observing the breath becoming progressively quieter and more still until it's almost impossible to detect. Now, as we enter this next phase of Yoga Nidra, remain as motionless as possible. If you need to move or make an adjustment, do so now mindfully. And return to stillness as soon as you're able. Resolve to remain awake, staying in touch with the sound of my voice. Simply allow your entire body to respond to my words directly and non-mentally. Allow any disturbances, external or internal, to draw you more deeply within. In Yoga Nidra, you enter the subconscious field of prana, energy. Let your mind merge and melt into the energy body and go beyond the boundaries of body and mind. Now shift from thinking and doing to feeling and being. Do absolutely nothing from now on. Simply relax. Drop into the deepest state of tranquility, stillness, and peace in the third eye. Breathing in fully, fill the lungs. And on your exhalation, exhale through softly pursed lips as if blowing through a straw. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling as if through a straw. Let the exhalation be a prolonged, steady stream of breath, emptying the lungs completely. Breathe in completely and breathe out completely without strain. Each time you exhale, empty your mind of all anticipations, the body of all tensions. As you inhale, fill your heart with joy. Each time you inhale, drop into a deeper level of silent awareness and experience the balancing, relaxing impact of the parasympathetic nervous system.
Breath is calm. Mind is silent. Body is relaxed. Heart is unconditionally open. Now return to your normal breathing and turn your attention inward. Experience the powerful impact of vibratory energetic pulsations in the form of sensations in the body. Let your detached awareness embrace all experiences unconditionally. Now bring your total undivided attention to the center between the eyebrows and drop into the deepest level of silent stillness, peace, and harmony. Now follow my guidance as we move our attention through the body. Sense subtle healing energy following attention, bringing healing and balance to the whole body. Beginning with the right side, let attention rest on the sole of the right foot. Heel. Right ankle. Lower leg. Right knee. Thigh. Hip. Waist. Right side of the chest. Right armpit. Shoulder. Upper arm. Elbow. Lower arm. Wrist. Back of the right hand. Little finger. Ring finger. Middle finger. Index finger. Right thumb. Palm of the right hand. Feel energy expanding into the whole right side of the body. from the sole of the right foot to the palm of the right hand. Whole right side. Whole right side in awareness. Now let attention shift to the sole of the left foot. Heel. Ankle. Lower leg. Left knee. Thigh. Hip. Waist. Left side of the chest. Left armpit. Shoulder. Upper arm. Elbow. Lower arm. Wrist. Back of the left hand. Little finger. Ring finger. Middle finger. Index finger. Left thumb. Palm of the left hand. Energy expanding into the whole left side of the body, from the sole of the left foot to the palm of the left hand. Whole left side. Now become aware of both sides of the body. Whole body. Energy expanding from the soles of both feet, the palms of both hands. Whole body balanced. The entire body as one integrated whole. Bathed in evenly hovering awareness. Give yourself permission to enter the deepest level of relaxation right now. Let go. Nothing to do or achieve. open, empty of all doing. Empty of all past, all future. Here, your intentions and affirmations are actualized and fulfilled with effortless ease. Allow yourself to receive this intention. Let your whole body listen to what I say. I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. Feel this intention being received at all levels of your body and being. Know that your higher self recognizes, honors, and accepts your intention. There's no need for you to do anything about it. And slowly beginning to deepen your inhalations and exhalations. Recognizing that at this sacred moment, your whole being has made a major paradigm shift. Establish yourself in total trust and faith that remains free from any need to be in control. Feel totally unburdened and free to move in life with effortless ease. Knowing that you are a soul who can witness life's experiences and let them pass by. Trusting that right response and right actions will come through you. With that clarity, keep your heart open to all conditions. Gently deepening your inhalations and exhalations. Slowly feel yourself beginning to rise to the surface of awareness. Take your time, there's no hurry. Sense the body resting on the floor. The quality of the air as it touches the skin. Know that you have deeply and powerfully reconnected with the rhythm of the universe as it speaks to you through its impulses. Allowing yourself to receive the intention once again. I honor the voice of my body as the voice of the divine. Allowing your heart to commit to listening to your body, what it has to tell you, what it's saying. Befriend this body that has carried you everywhere. It's done so many things. Now it's time for us to listen to this body. And remain here as long as you like. This concludes our session for today. Thank you all for being so present. Thank you for participating in this course. And to Yulia and Gabriel and Jepikwan, everyone.
Thank you, Kamini, Jabagwan.